Hey everyone, how's it going? This is M.L.S. Weech, and welcome to another episode where we look at the book covers for the week. This is for the second week of August. The book cover of the month for July, where you get to pick from the four winners, is still going on, and you are welcome to go to the link down below and cast your vote for that one. As always, what we do here is I look at seven book covers and I talk about what works and maybe how I think they could get a little bit better. And then I allow you guys to vote on your favorites. So elephant in the room, this beautiful house behind me, it's not my house. I don't live here. I could not afford to live in a place like this. I'm on vacation. We budgeted up and took my wife and her folks over here. It's a beautiful location though. I got this lovely creek out in front of us. It's a beautiful walk. It's just gorgeous everywhere you look. So if you can take a vacation up in the Virginia area, this was worth it. This was great. It's got an indoor pool over that way, so it's a wonderful, wonderful vacation place. And I just wanted to give my thanks to the hosts. If I were a better host, I'd remember the name of the location. But I'm like place in the farmland. That's what I remember. So moving on, we have to name the winner from last week, and the winner from last week is Of Glass and Ashes. This book is, it had nice color, it had a nice little silhouette. For me, really, it just kept pinging that Disney button, and I'm a sucker for Disney. So big props to Ellie Madison and Robin Mall. It's a beautiful cover, and I wish you luck in the August book cover of the month. Now we can move on to this week's covers. And the first one we're going to look at is called A Most Irregular Prophecy, and that is by Ness Kingsley. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with you right now. So this cover, I think red is a very strong color. It really kind of draws the eye. I really like the detail in the scroll work. It's all about the text and the choice of the font that they created for this. It's very whimsical. It's cute in how it works. I certainly hope that it's as charming as the cover implies. But this is one of those book covers that's less about giving you an idea on what happens and more about giving you an idea of the kind of story you're going to read. And if this were back in the days when I could read 3 or 4 books in a week, I would actually buy this book and read it just for the fun of it. But it's a good cover. I like it. I wouldn't change anything of it, but not because I think it's the greatest cover ever. I just think it's very well executed. So the next one we're going to talk about, oh no, here we go. The next one we're going to talk about is Follow the Hummingbird. And Follow the Hummingbird is by Elena Carter. And this is beautiful, beautiful color. I have to work with the images I find on Amazon, so I can't increase this. And if I could increase it, the pixelation would be a nightmare anyway. But if you look at the cover art on Amazon, just the beauty of the detail and the color in this cover, it's amazing. The text isn't distracting, it's legible, so that works out well. I love the space and composition of each of those birds floating around. So again, I'm not asserting it's the greatest cover ever, but what I'm noticing in the trend is I'm just looking at a whole lot of really, really like well executed covers that, while maybe aren't the most visually amazing ever, they're just so well designed. You can't knock them. So this is another good solid one, and props to Miss Carter. The next one we're going to talk about is Scandinavian Myths and Legends. And this is a book by G.K. Lund, who's someone I'm relatively familiar with. I know I've seen this individual once or twice before in my time. So this cover, again, is less about giving you an idea and more about giving you the idea of the tone. And what's happening here is, while the speaker doesn't have any detail, it's not meant to. We're not looking at one particular character, or maybe we are. If you're more familiar with Scandinavian myths, let me know in the comments down below if this ties to any specific one. But I'm not of that opinion as a casual purveyor of book covers. I think that the general idea here is you're looking at this caricature, the idea of a woman, the idea of Scandinavian myths. I love the golden hair. And if it does tie to a Scandinavian myth, it absolutely has something to do with golden hair. So it's just a really well done silhouette. It's a clever idea. I tend to prefer detail in covers myself, as you can see from the other two that we looked at. But at the end of the day, like, this cover still works because it conveys the message it's trying to convey. And that's what makes book covers successful. Next book cover we're going to look at is The Timepiece and the Girl Who Went Astray, or Away. It's a little hard to read the font here in the outdoors, but I could not resist coming out here and looking at this. Anyway, this is by O.R. Simmons. And the detail in this, again, that's the theme, detail and well-executed covers. That's what we're talking about today. That's what we're talking about this week. If you look, the moon's been replaced with an intricate-looking time sort of device. It's very Doctor Who in its use, and adding to that is what's very clearly a London-esque cityscape. If it's not literally to scale, it's still very easily identifiable. And then I like the reflection property as well. So everything's well placed, everything's well composed, lots of really great detail, lots of really good communicative elements that I think really all work together very, very well. Honestly, I don't know which one I'm going to vote for, and I don't know which one you guys are going to vote for, because all of these covers are just so well done. I was really happy looking for book covers this week. There are times when I'll look through and it's just miserable. I think my record is I had to go through 50 pages to find 7 covers I even wanted to talk about. And this one, it was not hard. It was not hard at all. So the next cover we're going to talk about is The Frost King by Marion George. So this one might not be as strong as the others in how well executed it was, but it's still well executed. So you got this silhouetted figure in the center bottom of the frame. You got a well chosen font. The landscape, at least if you're gonna have a landscape in your photo, but it's not going to be as detailed as most landscapes should be, make it clean so that your figure and your title text stands out. And that's what this cover designer did. The color is a nice choice. It's very, what was it called? The Guardians. That was an old animated movie. I don't know if you guys watched that. I thought it was underrated myself. But it's got those nice tones. So while we don't see a lot of it, we again get the sense of the tone. This is a very isolated figure in a very isolated landscape. So I imagine that has something to do with it, and at least has something to indicate to the tone of this book. So maybe not as strong as the others, because there's just not a lot going on. All the other covers, they were simplistic, but they had details. They had elements that really kind of gave a sense of tone, a sense of location, those other things. This one doesn't do that so much, but it's still easy to read, easy to understand. 2 more covers to look at. Next one we're going to talk about is Relentless, and this is by Charles Tillman and Michael Anderle. I'm under the opinion that Michael Anderle writes pretty much everything. Again, I mentioned it a few times. I've never even read a Michael Anderle book. I love his book covers. I've always been a fan of him. I think he's got a win in one of these. But what happens is he co-writes a lot of other books, so it's just hard to go through. If you look through Amazon, his name's everywhere. I'd really be interested in meeting him and talking to him, because the amount of work he produces has to be bearing some kind of fruit. So at the end of the day, if you put a character in there and you give him a cool ninja sword, it's at least going to draw the interest of an alpha male or some guy who likes his guns and swords and knives, and that kind of worked. The other element I want to talk to is this element called framing. So you have this old style window banister, calling it, I don't know what you call it. I'm not a construction guy, but you have this thing that creates a frame within the frame of the picture. And that's what framing is, compositionally speaking. What that does is it constrains the eye and draws the eye to whatever it is that occupies that frame. And in this case, it's the cool guy with the ninja sword. Really good idea with the layering where you have the ninja sword and the arm in front of the text and the body behind. So it looks like he's literally like resting his arm on the text. So good use of layering to create depth in a photo, good use of framing, and ultimately just a well-executed cover. Last cover we're going to talk about is really the most interesting, and I didn't realize it was going to set the tone. This is the book cover I found first because they come up in order as I find them. I found it first, and it's called Not Dead by Maddie Girlmeat. It's what the name on the book cover is, Maddie Girlmeat. I hope it's not an innuendo. I'm not smart enough to know when that kind of thing's going on. So at the end of the day, when I looked at this cover, I thought, why do I keep staring at it? Why don't, it's not like the art isn't a style that I'm normally drawn to. The font isn't a type that I would normally appreciate. And then I realized what it is. It's the actual compositional design. The first thing that really kind of tickles my fancy is a lot of times people insist on putting text horizontally on the top or bottom of the cover, and so the text is there, but it's not a part of the design. It's not like a visual element. The best designers understand that text is in fact a visual element. Letters are just graphic meaning. The only reason a T is a letter T is because culturally speaking, we've all looked at this shape and said that is a T. When you're designing and you take it to the next degree, moving that text and arranging it so it looks one, like a part of the actual design, and two, like a new element. And you're looking at this kind of napkin dinner table looking thing, and that's really what adds to this concept, just what really gives this more of a benefit. So right now, rather than looking at a normal red book cover with Not Dead there, that'd be a little bit boring, but they just moved it a touch and shifted it so that it looks like I'm looking at this dinner tablecloth, and it makes the appearance more realistic to the scene that we're talking about. The red works as long as it's got a white or a white background or a brighter background, so the text is legible, the design is easy to see. So I don't know if this is the most impressive cover I've ever seen, and I don't know that it's as strong as any of the other book covers here, but what I do know is you have to always acknowledge when people understand that the frame of their book cover is not just a thing where you say, okay, here's my really cool image, let's slap some text on it and call it a book cover. A lot of people do that, but successful designers think about their text and ask themselves, how am I going to incorporate it? The next level down, still pretty good, these guys are making money, is they design the area and they ask themselves, where am I going to slap the text on? So those are 1 and 2, and those usually work out for you. But everyone else down below, what they say is they commission this really great full frame art, and then they have to shove text in there somewhere, and it never works out. So this book cover doesn't do that, and I want to give them credit for that. Those are the 7 book covers for this week. This marks the end of my, basically is my family's month-long vacation. We spent some time in Arizona with my family there, and then we took our family in Maryland. We drove down to Virginia for 6 hours to stay at this beautiful residence. And so now things should start rolling. Things should start looking more normal. You're going to see my typical living room couch. But I thank you for your patience, and I hope you've enjoyed this. If you do, please click the like and subscribe button down below, and please take a few seconds to vote for your favorite book cover, because this isn't a thing that I'm doing other than trying to get credit to book designers and trying to get authors and books out there in the world in front of people who don't normally get to see them. So if you'd help out with that, it'd mean a lot to me. Please enjoy your week. And as always, I hope that God will be with you.